kind of TBD about how much.
Yeah, sometimes we do move the vehicle a meter, stop, take the picture, move, stop, move, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Those are definite Yonathons.
Definite what?
Definitely Yonathon.
I understood what that was.
You see the same thing like freaking 3 or 4 times.
I can sense your enthusiasm for this.
Oh, this is easy money for us. Stepping aft 10 meters.
Stepping aft 10 meters high.
I know, but we could devise a new I don't know, a new game, Jeopardy of the Deep, and
Cantina Force.
I bet you were. Oh yeah, that's nice. I bet you were laughing when I said, "Oh, this is going to be really cool to watch."
For the
It
first
is
10
cool
minutes.
though because it's beautiful. For the,
yeah.
First 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Getting them a cup of coffee.
So Lizzie just through the chat said we could play I Spy.
Yeah.
I spy something yellow.
I spy a sea bass Thomas, and there is the Christmas tree coral, I believe. That sort of
We'll be
reddish
seeing that
brown
again.
coral.
What do you call that Tina Force with the little landing legs on it?
I thought this was going to be a joke.
Huh?
I thought it was a setup for a joke.
No,
Yeah.
it's all serious here.
Tina Force are not funny.
There he is again in the top of the...
Yes, I know which one you're talking. He looks like a little jetpack man who's going to land.
Yeah.
I was noticing the rockfish earlier, the bank rockfish, when I tuned in, were quite a bit more sluggish. Everybody's kind of hunkered down or much less active at night.
So why is the DSC camera, what you were talking about changing, why is that not always like that?
What do you mean?
The frame rate? Shutter speed?
No, you were talking about changing something else, the shutter speed or something.
Well, it's at the 250 right now, so it should be like...
How's that? Does that match Andrew's document?
Yes.
Yes. So
Okay.
that's...
That's all I need to know.
Yeah, the reason we
the
don't...
rest is going to go right over my head.
Well, the reason we don't do the...
Stop right there.
Yeah, stop.
Stop right there.
I know there's a reason, but it won't make any sense to me.
I can explain it, I promise.
In
Do it, Steve.
layman's
I want to
terms,
hear it.
will
I wanna
that
hear it.
video speak?
Okay, so
Yes,
Camera
we want to
shutter
hear
button
it. And there are
Go
other people
ahead.
listening
shutter
other than Dan.
the
Yes.
shutter speed is how fast the camera takes the photo, right?
All right.
The faster it is, the sharper the image, right? Because there's less movement in that amount of time.
All right.
Also, the faster it is, the less light there is.
Ah.
So
Right.
you need to add light
Roger.
another way. So what I would have tried is to open up the iris, which gives you more light. And then you can shoot faster and end up with the same overall exposure.
So you have a bigger hole in the lens, basically, but you move the...
You have a bigger hole and you have it open for less time.
All right.
The only thing you lose when you do that is you have less depth of field, which means there's less in focus. You have to be more precise with your focus because you have the aperture open wider.
So that's why the outer kind of, I don't know, outer space of the shot is somewhat...
I think
blurry?
that just has to do with how wide this lens is.
Okay.
Yeah, he does have the wide angle lens on here because he wanted quality over quantity, basically, for the bacterial mats. And they were huge, you know, they're big, like, looks like a putting green of all
Wait, sorry, quality over quantity or quantity over quality?
He wanted to make sure he would capture the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah.
But he was thinking after that, that should be that move complete.
Yep.
So
Looks like it.
that he would put the other lens on.
Is that something that we have access to, changing that lens, or is it,
No.
does he need to come and do it?
No, that's Andrew's baby. They've done quite a bit of underwater photography, and they came up with these settings to be optimal for this lens.
Yeah.
I'm blindingly trust what he's saying because I don't know what he's talking about. Okay, forward 10, right?
So with the aperture
Forward
that,
10.
that he recommends, which is a not f9, you're going to get a lot in focus. So that's probably why they chose it, because we're constantly taking photos from different altitudes.
Yeah, and with the vehicle moving.
Mm.
Yep.
All right.
But for
Sometimes
something,
when we do these, we move a meter, stop,
yeah,
focus, take the picture. So there's someone manually, it's just like you would be with your camera
sure.
outside, right? They're setting up every single shot.
Wow. I think we could open the iris for something like this in the future, because we're at a set altitude, so we could kind of dial into focus and trust it more than if we were just doing a random exploration.
Right.
Yeah, it's worth, I think, taking the time at the startup to have someone that knows how to work a camera set it up. So it's a big time investment for the.
If we do another one, definitely increasing to 10 seconds frame rate, because you just get more overlap, better results.
Yeah, Roger. But more photos to edit.
So
More photos, yeah, but
More is good.
more is good. Not too many, because it's too much processing power for the computers to handle. But to an extent, it's good.
He had it set at 30 seconds for. There was a reason for that too.
Maybe so it doesn't fill up the storage over the whole course of the dive.
Yeah, maybe that was it.
what kind of rockfish is that? The pretty stars on its back,
Spotted something.
Guy?
White spot.
It looks like a rosy rockfish with sort of purple edge around each of those white spots. I don't see
Oh yeah.
the little white speckly, because that would make it a salt spray. That would be a starry rockfish, but I think that's a rosy. There's several that are smaller like that with those white spots that can be confused with each other, but my guess is that's a rosy. There's a rosy and a sword spine and I'll think of them. I'll blurt them out as they come to mind, but there's about 4 or 5 little ones like that. But that's a rosy.
We're gonna do the X tie-in.
At least one cross, yeah. Or 1X, but probably 2 would be good.
So folks who are maybe tuning in, you can see on channel 1, you can see what the Hercules ROV is shooting or portraying via the cameras, but also take a look at channel 3, where you can see the high pack, and you can see that we are indeed capturing a photo mosaic via a grid. And you can sort of see the grid lines that we're following. And those with a keen eye can see that we originally started with a bigger patch. We've we're ambitious. We thought that we would do a 15 by 15, realized how long this would take. So we cut it down after, I think,
Couple of passes.
Yeah, 2 passes, we cut it down to a 10 by 10.
Yeah, that's a great thing to point to. It's nice how it shows up so precisely on HYPACK.
Yes.
That brings up a question I have for the
left,
navigator.
1 meter.
Go ahead, Di.
So is the track line we're seeing in HYPACK, is that coming from a DVL type system?
Yes, it is. That's
Or
coming from a Doppler velocity log, which is downward facing
fantastic.
ADCP essentially.
And so, okay. And so the navigation data from all the work someone will be obtaining that for plotting the course of the
You will have both the
ROV?
USBL fixes, which is typically our navigation, or like,
Try something real quick.
that's
Yeah.
one of the navigation solutions, and we'll also have the DVL as well.
Okay. USBL is typically noisier, of course, and but it knows more about where it is. I think I'm explaining, correct me if I'm not explaining this correctly, but DVL is very precise in direction and movement, and it needs the sort of the guidance. You sort of need both to
Right,
put
yeah,
the
so
track line in the right place.
the DVL is just dead reckoning. So it's, you
Mhm.
know, saying, okay, you've gone X amount of distance at X direction, you know. So
Yeah.
but over time that erodes in quality because of how accurate dead reckoning is. In general, for something like this, when we set it to the USBL, which is our best
I
known
think it's another move.
location.
Another move, right?
Yeah.
No, I was just playing with the PID loop there to see if it softens up that
Oh.
Z. Let's give it a minute, see what it does.
So the USBL is ultra short baseline acoustic positioning. So we're
Seems better that way.
basically listening to the vehicles that are sending an acoustic pulse back to a transceiver on the ship. And that ship listens and can detect range and bearing to
Yeah, it's less of a
that
bounce.
signal. And we pair that with the ship's GPS.
Make a
And
note on
we're
the
able
log.
to
Change the Z derivative to 500.
pinpoint to a certain degree where that sound is coming from. But that bounces around a bit. We do have a USBL fix on the HYPACK screen right now. It's kind of, it's that circle that's bouncing a bit. And then we tell the DVL, the Doppler velocity log on Hercules, where it is at any given time based on that USBL.
Yeah.
But then that's fixed,
okay.
right? So then we use the dead reckoning, and in a pattern like this, we would not reset to that USBL over time. We just kind of want to leave it as is. That way, we've got our dead reckoning navigation for this site.
Well, it looks fabulous to me. I have worked with USBL data on these surveys in the past and had to do, quite a bit of cleaning and smoothing and
Right. Well, one thing that's helping
depending
us
on
right
where
now is our depth. So we're not very deep. So we're getting more precision.
And we're not down in some canyon where, I can remember the position of the ship relative to the vehicles.
Yeah, so
Made a big
softening up
difference.
the derivative made it made the curve less steep. In theory.
So we're at 194 meters, which is relatively shallow compared to some of the deeper dives that we've done,
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
But it's still deep, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's all in your perspective.
Yeah, and it's not super steep. If you're in a canyon with a really steep wall, the signal, that USBL signal can get pretty pingy. And in the past, there's a.
You want to
on the
pull a few more
bottom.
pictures out of there and see how they look?
But it's on the bottom. Anyway, the nav data is really important, of course, because when we're doing a quantitative transect, that's what we're using to
Or you
measure
just open
the
them up
length
there.
of the
So
transect.
should be full Monty. That downloads them, huh?
Yeah, because they're not local.
Yeah, right.
There's that rosy rockfish in the same spot.
Same one,
see
yeah.
'em? Yep.
Zoom in some more.
Where is the zoom on this?
This mouse scroll won't.
Hold control
it.
on the mouse, on the keyboard, and then scroll
Is that it?
with the mouse.
Yeah.
Are they getting detail there? Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
And we're passing some barrel sponges that have the sort of dirty outside. I heard a whole conversation about that.
Oh,
that
did you?
Yeah, and I think it has to do with that the spicules are sticking outwards of the
And
vase
collecting
shape, if you
sediment?
will, and they're any of the debris or sediment gets sort of stuck on the outside.
Mm.
But
How
this
do
one
they
seems to be also dirty on the inside, so maybe it's not a healthy sponge.
How do they stay so white?
You mean on the inside?
Yeah, or some are white on the inside and outside.
Well, so a healthy sponge will have sort of this framework made up of the spicules, which are made of glass, and then the cells surround them, and then they have these little flagella or cilia that move currents along. So there's constantly water moving through the sponge, keeping it clean. But the ones where you see the white on the inside and then the dirty on the outside, those are the ones that I was just describing that have the spicules, those hard structures, the skeleton that stick out of the cellular walls or the cell form. And they're the ones that then get covered because they're sticking out. It's like, I don't know, what could I compare it to? Like having a whole bunch of teeth sticking out that then capture the sediment or any of the detritus that is flowing by in the currents, and it just gets stuck. There's no mechanism to clean it off.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different type of sponge, right?
Yeah,
Than
yeah,
the ones that are all white and
right.
look cleaner, so to speak.
Yeah, the ones that are all white don't have the spicules sticking out. But this might be just sort of a one that's dying because it's not white on the inside either. But I'm not a
No.
sponge biologist, and Abby is asleep. She's our sponge expert.
Yeah. She's been up quite a bit.
Yes. So we can see some sponges that are completely white on
Yeah.
this mosaic.
And what kind of
There's a
corals
little
are these that are so abundant?
Acanthogorgia, right? Is the genus, a gold
Yeah.
sponge. I mean, sorry, gold coral. We've been talking about sponges. And did they say Gracilis, Lisa, is the species?
Yes, I think so. And this is a different kind of, these are the sea fans. They're not the same kinds that we've been seeing that have the calcium carbonate skeleton. They have a skeleton made out of a different kind of substance called gorgonin, I think. And these will be very interesting to study as um, ocean acidification because of global climate change. They will have a different chemistry, water chemistry, compared to the ones that have a calcium carbonate skeleton, which dissolves in a more acidic ocean.
Mm.
If you've been to, so to me, when I see this, this reminds me, I did a lot of my research in the Caribbean, and there they have these sea fans too, that sort of wave back and forth. They tend to be a little bit more, I think gorgonin tends to be a little bit more flexible compared to a calcium carbonate skeleton. But in this area, we're seeing a lot of this species, but I think in other areas they've been also seeing the purple and the pink ones, which are a different species. Correct, Di? I'm trying to look up the names of the species.
Oh, there's Adelagorgia and Leptogorgia in, I think as we get a little
Eugorgia are the
shallower.
purple ones, I think. Yeah.
And Eugorgia, yep. See, that's time it's resting on one. Some of these corals are on their side, either gotten knocked over or something, or the current.
I don't know. Are we in a protected area, a marine protected area right now? I should look that up on the.
Yeah, I believe so.
It's a marine was.
The dive plan.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm not sure she has the reserves up on the map.
Yes, most of the waypoints fall inside the federal MPAs.
Mm.
So yes, we are within a special marine protected area. Yesterday was the National Marine Sanctuary's 48th anniversary. And so in 2 years, we'll be
really?
celebrating our 50th. Yes. We're all getting ready to celebrate the 50th. There's some things that we're gearing up to do, but it was 48 years ago that Congress passed the act that established the National Marine Sanctuary System. October 23rd.
And do you remember what the first National Marine Sanctuary was?
I do. Not that I was there when it's the first one was the Monitor, which is an ironclad shipwreck. So a lot of folks don't know that in addition to protecting natural resources, we also protect shipwrecks and cultural heritage values within our National Marine Sanctuary. So the first one was the Monitor, which was a Civil War ironclad, steamship.
Huh.
It's on the East Coast by off of
One of the Carolinas?
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not, and that was in 1972. That was the first one. And Channel Islands, the one that we're in right now, I think was 1982. It's one of the first ones. I'll look it up real quick. And one of the impetus for behind establishing the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary was an oil spill that happened here off of California. Because one of the main things that national marine sanctuaries, at least on the West Coast, regulate is no offshore oil and drilling within the boundaries of the sanctuary. No, designated in 1980, not 82, 1980, September 22nd.
My monitor kind of goes a little fuzzy at times, but if I'm not mistaken, we're also passing over some little Christmas tree corals, which is
Yes.
a type of black coral. And this in the lower right left-hand corner is, I think that's a green spotted rockfish, and the way you can tell, it's also one of the ones that has the 5 white spots, but it's got pretty pronounced dorsal spines, which you can see, and they tend to be white. I can't see the
Yes.
green spots so well because my video monitor blurs a bit.
I can't see them either. It doesn't look like it
But
has.
I think based on that dorsal fin, and I can see the larger white spots. That looks like a green spotted rockfish to me. But it is interesting to see the rockfish kind of all hunkered down at night. When we have done our visual surveys with the focus on fishes in the past, we typically do those surveys during the daytime when the fish are more active, so they're more likely to be seen, because overnight they tend to hunker down like this and can, if you're in pretty high relief habitat, you can miss a lot of them because they're kind of hunkered down and
Sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see the contrast in their activity at night.
And now we take 2 steps to the left. It's like doing a dance.
Do-si-do.
Yeah. And the reason we selected this area is because of the number of corals that we're seeing here, the golden colored
Gold coral, acanthocorn.
gold corals, yes, the sea fans. And then there's also, as you can see, a fair number of sponges that we're seeing in different shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
Also a lot of brachiopods, which are those white discs, white-brown discs that you can see.
Another one of those dirty sponges. That's an unfortunate name.
Yes. Dirty, rotten scoundrel.
Yeah. Kind of like the poor thorny heads that are a common name is idiot fish in I mean, thorny head is a common name, but idiot fish is another one. Not very nice.
Why that?
I don't know
Guy,
why. I don't think why they're called idiot fish. I think it has to do with their large head. I don't know why that would prompt such a name. I'll look in the rockfish book and see if Milton says. He usually, that's the great thing about the Rockfish of the Northeast Pacific by Milton Love, Mary Yakovich, and Lyman Thorsteinson has lots of information, some of it fun and anecdotal about all the rockfish species of the Northeast Pacific. So it's
we're interested in fun and anecdotal. I don't have that book here with me in my home office.
Idiot is commonly used along most of the coast. Channel rockfish was a common name in the mid-1930s, as was Fagiano from the Italian for pheasant. Oh heavens. Oh, he's got a whole list of colloquial names. Hardhead, hooligan, idiot fish, and it goes on and on. These were colloquial names that fishermen used over time. That's for the short spine thorny head. The long spine thorny head, as with short spines, fishermen often call these idiots. Other names include bonehead, crimson thornhead, deepwater rockfish, hooligan. I like that one. Say why. I bet when we see this processed photo, we'll be able to, it'll be cool to see the fish in great detail. I bet we could make out what these little Sebastomus rockfish are, or come closer to getting to calling them by species. They're little. They're like 10. I bet they're 10 centimeters long. Some of these that we're seeing, you just see them as little red fish with some white dots on their back. There's a bunch of them here.
So do you see the golden colored sea fans that look like little cacti from the Saguaro Desert? Will those grow into the sea fans that we're seeing? Maybe that's something that they could measure over time. They come back 10 years from now and see how they grow. Or it's a different species, but.
Or it's a different one, I'm not sure.
Do you see the organism right there in the center of the screen? It's more beige, pinky looking. Is that another coral? I mean, sponge, you think?
Right in the middle?
It's not, yes, it's not completely white. It's more beige, pink colored. We can't go back because we're on that might be another sponge.
Sort of between the white sponge and the gold coral with the little rock below it. I see something fuzzy pink. Well, it makes me think of Jersemia, the coral Jersemia. I think it's spelled Gersemia. YEMMIA,
Okay,
but without looking at it up close,
right.
I'm learning a lot about corals, but I'm nowhere near being a Meredith or a Tom. But that's what I thought of when I and there, well, that actually looks like a little Christmas tree coral. This little red,
Yes.
reddish brown, fuzzy in the lower right. And there's a coral that's gotten knocked over and is dead, and another little Christmas tree. This one you can see the black. Stem, I'm calling it. That's not the right word. But it's a black coral, which is, I need to look that up. I'm going to go on mute and type. Ooh, here's a nice green spotted in the lower right. You can see the green spot.
Oh yeah, they're
green spotted
tiny green
rockfish.
spots though.
Yeah, yeah. And it has that white, very pronounced dorsal, the dorsal spines are, the skin is white and they're very pronounced and more deeply incised. And we could see the green spots that time. That's the Bastes chloristictus.
Hey, Di, you're sounding a little faint again. Can I ask you what your headset and microphone setup looks like?
I have a wired earbud with a microphone hanging on one of the wires.
Okay.
Do I need to speak up?
That helps a little bit, but I can.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, is there a way that you could bring that microphone up a little higher, maybe? I know it's tricky
Yeah,
with
because
those
I
How's
have
dangly.
this?
yeah. I have
I'm
my
holding it
volume
in front of.
on a max because I can barely hear you sometimes, Di.
Oh, okay.
That sounds better.
How's? I'm holding
That's
it
much
right in
better.
front of my mouth. Okay. I'm holding it in
Yeah,
front
that's
of my
where our
mouth now.
microphones are.
Yeah. I'm wondering if there's a way you could put, if you have like a button on a shirt or something that you could wrap it over, or I don't know, if you've got a safety pin lying around somewhere, you could pin it up a little higher or something like that.
Let me see what I can do.
All right. Thanks.
Here's some pretty sponges. The salad bowl sponge. So how many of the Nautilus crew are staying on for the next leg after this? On this watch? Who's
Jake
staying?
and I will be staying.
Yeah,
Is everyone else leaving?
I think so.
I am.
It'll be a big change.
So because I'm trying to understand, there's two of you that I can not figure out who's speaking. So Rennie is staying, or Jake is staying, or Steve is staying. But there's three of you.
This is Rennie, and I am staying.
This is
So
Jake and
Rennie
I'm
is staying.
saying.
And this is Steven, and I am leaving.
This is Dan, and I'm
Okay.
so out of here.
So where are you out of here too?
Home in Oregon.
Oh, great.
Ah. Okay, I've got a
And Taylor?
clothespin hold. I've got a clothespin holding this mic a little bit closer. Can you hear me better now?
We can hear you now.
Not to dwell
It's a little better, yeah.
on. Okay.
Steve's got
Yeah.
the super whammy. David Clark's over there, so he can hear. We just got the.
Yeah. If you're going to be doing, if we're going to be doing more of this, we highly recommend getting like a headset that, you know, goes over your head and then has a microphone attached to it that you can kind of move right in front of your mouth.
Yeah.
'Cause we,
Right.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I got one right before this happening. The only thing that I find it's sort of uncomfortable over your head sometimes. It's just, I wear glasses too, and
Yeah.
it just
Yep.
hurts my
Your ears
forehead.
get
Try
sore.
putting on a
Yes,
mask.
my ears.
Yeah,
a
one,
mask and headphones
yeah.
Oh, double whammy.
Oh,
Oh
gosh.
yeah, my.
and glasses.
Yeah.
Dan's got a lot of
Comfortable.
cranial accessories going.
There's a reason we have a hat on too. Otherwise, the thing
Oh,
is
that's a
digging
good
into the side
idea.
of your head after 4 hours.
That I'm gonna try that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna wear a baseball hat.
Another trick, you might have already done this, but you can, depending on your headset, you can just flip it around and so the microphone comes from the other side. I don't know.
Oh.
Sometimes it makes a difference depending on whether you have one ear that you're listening in or 2 ears.
Yeah.
3 years.
3 years.
I have two.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, then it might not matter.
Thanks here, everybody.
If it's symmetrical with the headphones, it might not matter which side the microphone comes from. But
Yeah.
a lot of the crew in the van here have one headphone side and kind of just a brace on the other side. So I know from
Yeah, I
experience with
understand.
those, you want to switch them around.
Okay. No, mine is the two-eared. Like Princess Leia
You
look.
can,
Yeah, nice. Me
Did you
too.
bring the
you
Delta
can
down?
also,
I did, yeah.
Oh.
Trying to minimize that Z swing there.
At the end of this, we're good for our cross line, by the way, as we actually ended up doing 11.
Is this our 10th line, is it?
It's our 11th line. Some of us didn't count correctly. I'm sorry.
What?
I wasn't paying attention.
One,
It's our
two,
11th.
three.
11th, yeah. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to tell the next group to definitely not do it bigger than 10 by 10 and maybe do something smaller than that, like
So
6 by 6 or.
we timed it again, and it's right at 5 minutes to do 10 meters up and 1 meter over. So it's easy math.
50 minutes.
But
Wow.
then
okay.
add in the cross
Yeah.
lines and some setup time, you're probably looking at an hour per grid per direction.
So we'll go down to the southeast corner, which is, I can give you a direct bearing actually.
I should just do, if I do an equal step aft and starboard, we should get there, right? Because it's a square.
It's not a square anymore because we did 11 lines.
It's a 10 by 10, right?
Yeah, but we did 11.
Oh, it's all right.
I have one.
I can only do 45, man.
Yeah.
Or I can step back and step over one and do it. Let's do that. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise I have to put some funky numbers in here that I can't work out.
That's fine.
The outer one's probably going to be half cut off anyway, so as long as you cross the center.
Yep.
In theory, we should end up within a centimeter of where we started.
That's really,
Okay,
really
ready?
neat.
Stepping back and aft. This should stop us in the middle. Or not quite in the middle.
So now we're going straight to the middle. Is that what you were saying, Dan? I'm just watching on high pack.
Well, if you have a 10 by 10 square, what's the distance from one corner to the other corner?
Oy,
100
that's trigonometry.
plus 100.
10 by
Square
10.
Square root of 200.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The calculators come out. I have an
14?
app for that. Huh?
Around 14, 15?
14, yeah. Sweet, someone can do it in their head.
14.14.
What is it?
14.14.
Haha.
And then more numbers.
So this will get us past the middle.
Yeah.
So I do 10, then I do another 4.14, and that should get us to the other corner.
Yeah. You can always overshoot it.
And usually we box it, do the full X. I don't know if you want to do that or not, if we need to. I think the software's come a long way since I first started doing this.
Yeah.
Is that our Rosie that we saw before? I think so.
Still
Very
there.
precise, these movements. Yep.
And they say for this to work, you need a stationary object. So that fish has been very stationary. I think so. I guess that's a good instruction if you're going to do one and you think there's going to be some fish present, do it at night when they're asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it would be very difficult to do with schooling fish. That would not be a great photo mosaic.
Let's hope these squid
That's a
in
little-
Argus view stay away from Hercules.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check it out.
Right when you said that, Steve, they all swam away.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right. I see them zooming away just right now.
Thank you, squid.
Yes, they heard you. For some reason, channel 4 is not working. The quad view?
Oh, that's the map that's broadcast from shore. So if that's out, that's not our that's not within our purview to fix, I don't believe.
Okay.
That's correct.
The Argus view is so cool to look at every now and then and realize how dark it is down here. There's another little bank in the lower right corner, sleeping. Bank rockfish.
You're very
And I'm
soft again,
seeing-
Di.
Am I?
Yeah,
How's this?
much better.
Okay.
What
I'm
did
gonna
you
have
do?
to talk.
This isn't your first watch, so what did you do before this?
I used the same set, so I don't
It's a
I don't
mystery.
remember being told that I was soft. My very first time, there was an issue with the laptop that I was using. My old laptop was not recognizing the mic. It was my on my head, my little wire headset. so I could hear fine, but I was sounding far away because it was picking up my voice on the laptop mic, not my little headset
Are you
mic.
in the same room that you were in for the other watches?
Yeah. Oh, it's the same setup. It's my dining table.
Well,
There's nowhere to eat.
maybe you have maybe
And
you
I've got two.
just quiet down at night, you know, settle down at night, and you're not as loud like the rockfish.
Yeah, I know I'm kind of being quiet.
Yeah, especially
'Cause
if you have other people in the house. I understand. I don't know.
oh no, no one's here, just the cats. And
Oh,
they're
okay.
like, why are we up? What are we doing? But maybe that is true because I don't know, neighbors or something. I'm in a condo complex,
Oh
so
yeah. There's probably less going on outside, and you don't need to talk as loud to hear yourself.
yeah.
That's a very good observation, Steve. That she's probably just talking more quietly because of the hour. I think this
One
is the first time you're
1:30
doing
Oh.
the
in the morning.
midnight. Yeah, yeah.
It's not really, you don't shout or talking in a loud voice doesn't really come to mind, spring to mind. But I'll keep that in mind. Speaking louder.
Yeah, this is the first time you're doing the midnight to 4, right, Di?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I
Right.
bet you that's what it is.
And tomorrow night, we're midnight to 4 tomorrow as well, right? I think we're
Yes.
going to
Yes,
be
we are.
working.
Yes, we are.
Yay.
You and me with with these people.
Lisa, you've been on the 12 to 4 the whole time, huh?
I've drawn that straw many a times, just like you.
It's almost easier to have the same shift and to have multiple days because then you fall into a rhythm and you get your sleep pattern going. I know on the express cruises we've done the last 2 years, all the ROV work was done overnight. And so the ROV team, we were on we got our schedule down, and as opposed, it didn't change that much.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of us in the van, even if we're not in the water, you'll still find us up wandering around the ship between 12 and 4. Well,
uh,
working and stuff, but even if it's slow and there's not much to do, we still try to stay up, keep a schedule.
yeah.
And are the schedules drawn based on preference? Is it
Well,
Nope.
seniority?
when I got on the ship, I was the other 2 video engineers had already been on longer than me, so they told me what watch I got.
There's a
Yeah,
rumor that
that's what I meant.
there's a rumor on Nautilus that if you have a preference for a shift, you'll never ever get it.
Oh, come on.
So we
So don't express the preference, huh?
pretty much,
Yeah. Yeah.
We typically try to pair people by experience as well. So
Mhm.
you wouldn't want to have
Hmm.
fresh people all on one watch. You kind of want somebody,
Right.
a few people who have some experience, and then maybe that can pair well with others,
Mhm.
depending on.
That makes sense. Yeah, we sort of did the same thing with our watches. We tried to pair people that had done this before with people that had not done this before. So that's why I'm the one who's not done this very often, actually never. So I'm with Di, who's done it before. I was a lot with Meredith. She's the sponge expert. I mean, coral expert.
Coral and sponge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
She's
the
getting
coral
good at
expert.
everything.
Yeah. And you've done this before, Di, on Express. And
I've done this before, but and back in the day with Mary, we did dives with the Delta. We did a lot of dives with the Delta, and the max depth for that was 360 meters. So, and I had worked on rockfish in the sport fishery, years ago. So in hand identification of a lot of the rockfishes. I was really good at. And the visual part I picked up on doing those dives. And then when I first started with Mary, we reviewed, the divers reviewed their own video, their dive, and entered the data. And then, but over the years, I've gotten more in the, have always been the database person, and gotten away from the video review. And of course, we're not diving in the Delta anymore. So I've gotten out of practice somewhat because I'm not looking at the video as much anymore. I'm looking at the data. And as
Right.
we've been able to dive
Yeah.
deeper, it's been great because, well, it's been a yin and a yang. There's more new things to learn to identify, which, you know, you need time to look at the video and study, and it's different than looking at still photos of things. That's a nice reference, but it's different when you're underway trying to figure out what something is. Of course, when the analysts review this video, not this that we're doing now, but when we do a transect, they can stop the video and look, and you know, it's not like the conveyor belt of chocolates going by like in the Lucy episode.
Yeah.
Where-
So true.
yeah, so this is a real treat to be able to watch this.
Well, we're so lucky to have you be part of this, Di. Just, I think it's been great that all of us have been working on the West Coast Deep Sea Coral Initiative, and because Sanctuaries has this great cooperative agreement with Ocean Exploration Trust, that we can, you know, share in the wealth, if you will.
Well, much appreciated. I know all of us that would have had another, there was another cruise in the works for this fall on a NOAA ship with the Deep Sea Coral Initiative and Express, and that was canceled because of the COVID situation. So, you know,
So
I
are
know
we going to
between,
be able to move those cruises forward into the new fiscal year, or are they just lost?
my understanding is that this was the last year of the West Coast Initiative, and so they decided to use the funds for more video review, I think archive video review or that sort of thing.
Oh, right.
No, and so I think next year begins the Alaska Initiative. These are 3 or 4 year initiatives, and this year was the last for this part of the West Coast.
Right.
So it's great to be able to do this, to join you on this one. And I know Liz's
Right.
group, I'm sure, feels the same way.
Yeah. I think that for some folks, this is the only field work that we're doing during COVID.
Yeah. I wanted to ask the crew also along those lines that you guys were telling us about your shift. Do each of you, because of COVID and fewer personnel on board without the scientists, do you each have your own room as well?
Some of us do, but not all of us, I think.
Okay. It's nice to be able to spread out. I will say one of the nice things about doing this from home, there's pluses and minuses, of course. One of the pluses is I get to sleep in my own bed, but one of the minuses is I miss having someone cooking for me.
It is nice
I
to
always
not think
miss
about
that
that.
yeah, I miss that when I get home from a cruise, having, you know, coming home to my empty refrigerator.
Yeah, who goes